G'day guys, welcome to Manchester. Today we'll be going for a bit of a walkthrough around town, discovering some of the history, looking at the landmarks and seeing what Manchester is all about. Now, historically speaking, Manchester was at the tip of the spear of the Industrial Revolution in England. It was the world's first industrial city. It was leading the revolution, especially with its cotton and textiles industry. Also had the world's first railway. So we're going to go on a bit of a tour and check out Manchester. So as you can see all around me, you have these big red bricked buildings. Now these were actually warehouses for storing cotton. During this time of the Industrial Revolution, Manchester accounted for 80% of the world's total finished textiles. They all originated from here. So you can imagine the amount of business happening all within this greater Manchester area. They would bring in the raw materials, process it, store it, export it. It had a lot of rivers, so it made for great logistics in order to actually transport and export the textiles and cotton out of Manchester all around the world and around Britain's empire. So subsequently, Manchester also experienced de-industrialization. So it basically went into a recession, it lost a lot of its business, and factories closed up. Now, over time, Manchester fell into disrepute, a lot of drug issues, homelessness. People were really not living well here. So during the 70s and 80s, with the arrival of punk and alternative culture, Manchester really became a kind of hub for this. And a lot of these warehouses ended up being used for raves. So you can see these massive red brick buildings. These were all warehouses. And this is that characteristic sort of look of Manchester that we see today. Now, they've been converted into offices and lofts, apartments in the city centre. Great location to be in if you're living or working here. But back in the day, they were all used for storing cotton and textiles to export around the world. So here behind me is the University of Manchester. You can see its gorgeous architecture. So you may go for a little bit of a wander inside. Such a gorgeous campus. You know, when you think of England and the United Kingdom and their prestigious universities, you get this idea that it kind of looks like Hogwarts, and this really hits the nail on the head. It's gorgeous. So the buildings surrounding you were originally for Owens College, one of the predecessors of the University of Manchester, with construction beginning in 1870. The college had originally been located on Quay Street. So here we've got a little bit more of the university. We're in Gilbert Square. It's beautifully decorated with lavender and other flowers. So you can imagine when school's in, this place is just bustling with students, and you have, of course, this beautiful view. So now heading to Manchester Town Hall and the John Rylands Library. And who was John Rylands? Well, actually yesterday I got lost on my way home to my friend's place where I'm staying at the moment, and I ended up walking through the southern Manchester cemetery, and it was like getting dark. It was like 9:30, 10 p.m. and it was actually a pretty cool experience, to be honest. Gave me a chance to kind of pause and reflect. And as I was walking through this cemetery, it was getting darker and darker. I saw this one large gravestone, and I walked up to it and it said John Rylands. I thought, okay, well, this must be an interesting character. Let me Google him. Turns out John Rylands was a huge name in Manchester. So I ended up reading his eulogy online, and he has a terrific tale of rags to riches. So he had a very shy and humble beginning, essentially learning how to weave, using hand looms. So John Rylands ended up becoming the owner of the largest textile manufacturing concern in the United Kingdom. He was Manchester's first multi-millionaire and ended up working in Rylands & Sons, which continued to operate for years after his death. So aptly, Manchester's named a library after it. John Rylands Library. So we're gonna go head over there, but for now, let's go check out Manchester Town Hall. So we were going to go for a bit of a walk through Manchester Town Hall, but it looks like it's under renovation at the moment. That won't be finished until around 2024. So let's push on to John Rylands Library. So we're well and truly in the city centre right now. We can still see the remnants of these old red bricked warehouses, which all sprung up as a result of the cotton and textile trade, which basically propelled Manchester into quite a wealthy city here in the United Kingdom due to the sheer amount of its exports around the world. It's often in these back streets that you get a more authentic sort of city experience, I always find. And this is why it's always good to kind of get lost and walk around and have a couple of locations pinpointed on a map that you want to get to. And other than that, you just go with the flow. Unless you're super short on time, then you should plan and you should stay organized. Because the last thing you want to do is to be wasting your time when you're in your destination, trying to find accommodation, trying to find things to do, places to see. So this is the John Rylands Library, so let's see if we can get in here. So let's see. The Rylands is one of the finest examples of neo-Gothic architecture in Europe, and one of the great libraries of the world. So this architecture reminds me of the Tower of London and the Tower Bridge over in London. It promotes research using the rich special collections of the University of Manchester Library. Enriqueta Rylands commissioned the architect Basil Champnay to design the library, which took 10 years to build, and she was involved with every aspect of its design and construction. And it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? It looks like something, again, out of Harry Potter. John Rylands was a multimillionaire thanks to the success of his cotton manufacturing business, Rylands and Sons, and John and Enriqueta benefited from slavery through the transatlantic cotton trade. Looks like more of a cathedral than anything. Let's go check it out.
Have you been before?
No, never.
No, okay. There's a shop here, obviously.
Yep.
Just to follow around the concourse, stairs up to the first floor,
Yep.
which is the main exhibition, the
Okay.
pub exhibition. There's also Dante exhibition as well. There's a third floor, which is the main part of the library,
Yep.
which is all the Gothic library, which are like
Okay.
very Harry Potter type.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what it
right
looks
at the
like.
end, so if you just follow the concourse round.
Yeah. Has this like served as any inspiration, or is that more in London or something? Is there something in London that served as inspiration for Harry Potter?
I think the interior has been used on a few films. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly what. There's more details on
Sure.
the room. It tells you
Yeah.
a bit more details what they've been used.
So it is free, so we're going to go through a walk. Currently in this annex, or a new building, but we're going to go check out the original interior of the John Rylands Library. So we just left John Rylands library and we're going to take a quick 9-minute walk over to the Science and Industry Museum, which, given Manchester's history, I think is going to be great. Right, last stop, Science and Industry Museum. So it looks like you've got to get a ticket ready, but they've got a sign out front where you can just do a QR code scan and set it all up, and then it's pretty much in your email. So let's do that. Hey mate, I just signed in now. Yep. Awesome.
That's what they say do, don't you?
Thanks mate, cheers.
Okay, that's good. Thank
Can I just grab a map, please?
Of course you can, yeah. Have you been before?
Never, no.
Okay, so I'll give you the map. This is like an introductory gallery.
Okay.
Then next door is a textile history of Manchester.
Sure.
So there's lots of looms and things.
Yep.
Upstairs is an interactive gallery, and there's also, we've got this gaming experience, which is a paper experience. It's like the history of computer games.
Right, okay. All right, so if you've only got about an hour, then it's recommended just to stay on this floor. And here you'll get a far better understanding of the textile manufacturing and cotton industry, which really brought Manchester to fame. So here we've got an example of a steam engine. And basically by being able to power them by coal and using water to create the steam, they were able to move these mills, these stations, into the city versus being out and about around the countryside where there were more rivers. And we've got a loom. So it's worth noting that Manchester's success with its cotton industry, its textile manufacturing industry, actually depended upon slave work, especially over in the southern United States. Of course, that's where a lot of the cotton plantations were based. Well, that's it guys. I hope you all enjoyed this tour of Manchester. We had a bit of a walk around, learnt about the history of this industrial city that spearheaded the Industrial Revolution in the United Kingdom, and about some of its characters that were big players in the industry that rose from rags to riches. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next adventure.